You just can't ask for a better day than this. Breezy, beautiful, 68 degrees under sunny skies, and the track is fast as we welcome you to Churchill Downs in Louisville for the Kentucky Derby. Hi everybody, I'm Bob Costas. In recent years, the Derby has been about underdogs. Last year, the Run for the Roses belonged to Giacomo, a 50-to-1 shot. The year before that, the modestly bred Smarty Jones took the Derby and then captivated the nation by nearly sweeping the Triple Crown. Now at this year's Derby, Barbaro and brother Derek are among the favorites. But when you look a bit more closely at these two horses, that's when you discover some of the biggest long shots ever.
We don't choose our own destiny.
Sioux City got emergency for you.
It chooses us when we least expect it.
I have serious doubts about making the airport.
On July 19th, 1989, United Flight 232 left Denver on its way to Chicago. It would never make it there.
Disaster in Sioux City,
Iowa. Search for more victims of the crash.
185 passengers were pulled from the wreck.
Another 115 passengers are believed to have died.
We define a survivor as someone who perseveres through hardship. Someone like Flight 232 passenger Michael Matz. Today he trains Derby contender Barbaro. But his life may well be defined by that moment almost 17 years ago when he ran into the fire to save the lives of 3 children. Ran into the fire. 2 years ago, it was just another day at the track for Alex Solis. Just another race. But when you're a jockey, any race can be your last. A broken back would make Solis wonder whether his career was over. But today he rides the favorite, brother Derek, proving that determination always conquers doubt. Trainer Dan Hendricks had an accident of his own that left him paralyzed from the waist down. But the funny thing about life is that every time we think we've measured our capacity to meet its challenges, we're reminded that that capacity may well be limitless. Today, 3 men whose lives have danced with destiny come to Churchill Downs to take life up on its second chance. To live out the dream they all share. The dream that is the first Saturday in May. The dream of the Kentucky Derby. 57,000. Derby Day means that special hat for the ladies. And of course you have to have a mint julep. There's been a heavy dose of celebrity sightings. And the infield. Oh man, the infield. Many of the famous names in the jockey colony have retired. Only 3 of the 20 jockeys today have won the Derby. And as the tension builds, maybe it'll be a previously little-known rider who makes history, or maybe Mike Smith can repeat the magic of a year ago. To win the Derby, a dream, it can change your life. Just ask John Sheriffs. He's back after living the dream last year when Giacomo came back at 50-to-1, making him forever Kentucky Derby winner. It is, in a word, ideal at Churchill Downs today. Clouds rolling in here a little bit late, but very pleasant, a little breezy, 68 degrees. The track is fast and fair. No bias today. No one will have an excuse because of the track. In the Kentucky Derby, they race 1.25 miles. None of them have ever been that far before. The purse, $2 million, 3-year-olds only. You only get one chance at it, and all will carry 126 pounds. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the 132nd Kentucky Derby presented by Yum Brands. I'm Tom Hammond. And for the last few weeks, as the final Derby preps were being run, the buzz began. And the consensus is that this is going to be a special Derby. Why? Well, because of the depth of quality in this Derby field. 4 are unbeaten this year. And you can make a strong case for a half dozen, maybe even 10 of the 20 runners. And it's tough to eliminate any of them, especially after you think of Giacomo winning the Roses last year at 50-1. It's an intriguing race, and let's see how the bettors are viewing it at the moment. And there have been some surprises. And Sinister Minister and Point Determined have been holding pretty steady at 8-1 all day long, both trained by Bob Baffert. So is Bob and John at 11-1. Barbaro is the 6-1 favorite. Now, if that holds, it would equal Harlan's Holiday as the longest priced Derby favorite in history. Sweet Northern Saint getting some play at 7-1. Brother Derek, you may remember, was the 3-1 morning line favorite. He is 8-1 now. No respect at all. And Lawyer Ron, who has won 6 in a row, also is surprisingly double-digit odds, currently at 10-1. Well, this race is interesting also because of the changing of the guard in the jockeys colony. Since last year, Pat Day and Jerry Bailey have retired.
If you didn't know better, you'd think he was just an ordinary trainer. And he'd like to tell you that's what he is. But there isn't much that's ordinary about Michael Matz. 10 years ago, Matz was selected by his Olympic teammates to carry his nation's flag at the closing ceremony of the Atlanta Games. A 3-time Olympian and a silver medalist in show jumping, he carried the flag that night not only for his athletic achievements, but also for a life-changing moment that occurred 7 years earlier.
Flight number 232, United Flight 232, crashed just before 4 o'clock this afternoon.
Disaster in Sioux City, Iowa. A United Airlines jumbo
The fact that anyone survived this horrendous crash is a miracle.
There were 3 children that were flying to their grandmother's place in Albany, New York, and they were on the flight, and I told the man sitting alongside of me that whatever happens, we have to make sure we get these children out.
After the plane came to a rest, we were upside down in the middle of the cornfield. We unbuckled our seatbelts and fell to the ceiling. And Michael looked over to make sure we were okay, and we all grabbed hands, and Michael told us to run and don't look back, and then he turned and went back onto the airplane.
I think you just do what comes natural to you. If the same situation happened to my children, I would want somebody to do the same as I did for them. There was a lot of people that were killed and injured very badly, and we were lucky enough to survive the flight.
It's been 17 years since that awful day in Sioux City, Iowa. A day when an ordinary man did extraordinary things. Today, Michael Matz will write the next chapter of his unique story as he comes to the Kentucky Derby with an undefeated horse.
The Derby is the biggest race in the United States. To be lucky enough to have a horse that can compete and I feel has a good chance is a great feeling.
He's a man who lived through a nightmare. Today, Michael Matz has a shot at a dream come true.
As a parent, you just hope that there is, a good soul like Michael sitting next to your kids or being with your kids in a time of trauma.
We hope Barbaro wins by a lot, and even if he doesn't, we are so proud of Michael for everything that he's done anyway that winning, losing, doesn't matter.
Back live, here is Michael Matz's horse, Barbaro. Through the years, Matz and the Roth kids have stayed in touch, but it had been 10 years since they last saw each other in person until earlier today when the Roth children, Melissa, Travis, and Jody, grown now, made their way back to the barns to meet up with Matz.
Wow, good to see you. Congratulations. Thank you, thank you.
Yeah, we're very excited.
My God, you guys have
changed.
Yeah, grown up a little.
To show you how much they wanted to be here today, Travis was to have received his master's degree from Wyoming today, bypassed it to be here, and Jody's wife Tasha gave birth to a son only 4 days ago, and yet he made it here as well to root Matz on. Tom?
Start with this side, that's going to be Patrick.
And there is Edgar Prado, who will ride Barbaro today. And you know, Barbaro is owned by Roy and Gretchen Jackson. They also own another horse in the race showing up, and he's unbeaten as well. He's 3 for 3, trained by Barclay Tagg, who trained Funny Side. It's the first time in Derby history that the same owners have had 2 unbeaten horses in the same Derby. And by the way, earlier today, George Washington won the 2,000 guineas. He was a horse bred and then sold by Roy and Gretchen Jackson. He won the 2,000 guineas, the first race in the English Triple Crown earlier today.
All right, good luck. John Sheriff's pulled a big upset last year with Giacomo. He comes in with the horse that people are looking at here in AP Warrior, Tom.
And Kenny John told us earlier this week. Welcome back to Churchill Downs and the Kentucky Derby as the jockeys begin to file out to the paddock where they'll get the final words from their trainers and get a leg up on their horses. Hearts start to be fluttering about this time, I would imagine, Gary.
I'll tell you what, Tom, it was 21 years ago today that I made my first time down this escalator right here, and I had Bill Shoemaker behind me. He put his hand on my shoulder. He said, son, when you walk out on that racetrack and they start playing my old Kentucky home, you're going to get tears in your eyes. He said, don't worry about it. He said, it happens to me every year, and every year since I rode that first one 21 years ago, I get tears in my eyes, and I had tears in my eyes.
And you see as the jockeys go down, accepting congratulations, shaking hands from their admirers as they head toward the paddock. Let's go to Bob Newmeyer.
Well, Dan Hendrickson, Brother Derek, the moment is at hand. I'm curious, in your life as an assistant trainer and the whole run-up to today, how many times you've thought about running a horse in the Kentucky Derby?
Today, this week, the last 20, 30 years, I couldn't tell you how many times it's been so many, you know? We just always think about it. It's just always in the back of your mind when you get a new 2-year-old in and they turn in a big work, you start thinking about it, and hundreds, millions of times.
The number 1 horse, number 2 horse, Robbie Alvarado on Steppenwolfer, the veteran, and they make their way out. Trainers giving the riders a leg up.
And some last-minute instruction. I'll tell you what, this is what you've been waiting for, is to get legged up. There's been some nerves, everything else, but when you get legged up on the horse, there's almost an inner peace that comes over. It's just you and the horse right now. The trainer's done his work. There's nothing more that he can do. It's left in your hands and the horse's legs, and it's just a very, very peaceful feeling right now as you get ready to go walk into the tunnel and out onto the racetrack.
In a big race like this, I'm sure you have talked to the trainer in the days before, maybe even weeks before the race, and the instructions in the paddock probably are redundant if they're mentioned at all.
That's absolutely right. You're not down there very long before you're actually put up on the horse, and I'm sure that a lot of these trainers went up and had some conversation with the jockeys earlier today.
They'll make a circle there, then they'll head to the tunnel and make their appearance out onto the track. A field of 20. Barbaro still the 6-1 favorite. Brother Derek now has gone down a notch to 7-1, making him the co-second choice with Sweet Northern Saint. Now coming up will be the call to the post, and then that unique and special moment, the playing of My Old Kentucky Home.
Gentlemen, please rise as the University of Louisville Marching Band presents My Old Kentucky Home.
And here are the horses for the 132nd running of the Kentucky Derby. Number 1 is Jazzle. Sheikh Hamdam Maktoum paid $725,000 for his first Derby horse, who was flying at the end of the Wood Memorial, won by Bob and John. Number 2, Steppenwolf for another closer. Second to Lawyer Ron in the Arkansas Derby. Named for the band Steppenwolf and hoping for a magic carpet ride today. Number 3, Keyed Entry, should contest the early lead. One of 2 Todd Pletcher trainees trying to give the champion trainer his first Triple Crown victory. Number 4, Sinister Minister, first of the Baffert trainees. Brilliant in the bluegrass, but unrateable. How far can he go? Number 5, Point Determined, also a Baffert horse, running for the widow and children of Bob Lewis, one of the most popular men in racing. The late Bob Lewis passing away in February. In fact, Point Determined won on the day Bob Lewis died. Number 6, shows up unbeaten in only 3 starts. He would be the first horse since Regret in 1915 to win the Derby in his 4th career start. Number 7 is Bob and John, the 3rd for Baffert, winner of the Wood Memorial, named for owner Bob McNair and his racing manager John Adger. Number 8 is Barbaro. His name is for a prized foxhound, trying to be the 6th unbeaten horse to emerge from the Derby. He won the Florida Derby off an 8-week layoff. He's been off 5 since then. Number 9, Sharp Humor, who has speed. He was a courageous second to Barbaro on the Florida Derby. Trainer Dale Romans in his first Derby, but the 30th he has witnessed. Number 10, AP Warrior, a $1.3 million yearling. And John Sheriff's picked the same post position that Giacomo won from last year. He would be the 7th to saddle back-to-back Derby winners. Number 11, Sweet Northern Saint, dominated the Illinois Derby, trying to follow the same track War Emblem took to the Roses. He's a gelding. Funny Side, the only other Derby-winning gelding since 1929. Number 12, Private Vow, one of 2 Steve Asmussen trainees. 3 times he has been the top trainer by wins in the United States. Private Vow did win the Kentucky Jockey Club here last year. Number 13 is Bluegrass Cat, the Pletcher trainee, 4th in the Bluegrass. Regular jockey John Velasquez was injured at Keeneland, replaced today by Ramon Dominguez. Number 14, Deputy Glitters, winner of the Tampa Bay Derby, then 6th in the Wood. The first Derby horse for trainer Albatrani and jockey Lescano. Number 15 is Seaside Retreat, his only stakes win in Canada last year. First Derby starter for Bill Farish, who runs Lane's End Farm for his dad, also for Mark Cassie and Patrick Husbands, the jockey. 16, Cause to Believe, winner of the California Derby, ridden by Russell Bays, 9,300 wins and counting, about 200 behind all-time leader Lafitte Pencaille, but 14th in his only other Derby ride. 17, Lawyer Ron, like Smarty Jones, comes from the Arkansas Derby, having won 6 in a row and the most experienced horse in the field with 14 career starts. 18, Brother Derek, named for 20-year-old Derek Tellison, who's on a Mormon mission in Armenia, bred by the widow of longtime thoroughbred auctioneer Tom Caldwell, wearing those silks, the silks of Cecil Peacock, the owner, and perfect for an appearance here on NBC. 19 is Storm Treasure, 2nd in the Bluegrass, like his stablemate Private Vow. He has a win over this Churchill Downs track. And number 20 is Flashy Bull. He's a son of Holy Bull. Mike Smith up last year. Mike rode a son of Holy Bull named Giacomo to win at 50-1. And that's your field for the 132nd running of the Kentucky Derby. $2 million purse, the first jewel in racing's Triple Crown. They'll go 1.25 miles for the first time in their warm-ups now with the race that I need a loan to get it. So I hope you come through with me, and I hope you didn't take all the good stuff out of it with that sip. The horse is warming up right now, and Gary, this is an important time, obviously, for horse and jockey, and probably affects your mindset for the race as well, doesn't it?
Yeah, it really does. You can tell in the post-parade actually how your horse is going to run in the race. If they're getting stirred up right now, if they're boiling over, it's over with. One thing that struck me with the competition that's in this race, these horses really showed their class in the post-parade. When they're warming up, that roar that went up after my old Kentucky home, there were only 2 horses that acted up a little bit, and they didn't act up bad. One of them was Sweet Northern Saint, but everybody really, really kept their wits about themselves, and I was impressed by it. And I'm sure that Donna's probably seeing some things out there right now as well.
Everybody behaving, Donna. Donna's down on horseback now on her Mount Cisco. Donna?
Gary, like you, I was impressed with the way the horses all behaved. There was a scratch in the post parade, but it was from a pony who acted up from the crowd roaring. I have to tell you, this 18 post position that Brother Derek breaks from, Arthur Hancock, who owns Gato del Sol, who won the 1982 Kentucky Derby, told me a funny story. He woke up in a panic on Derby morning because no horse had ever won from the 18 post back in 1982, so he called a friend of his who was good in geometry. Using the Pythagorean theorem, he figured that if he took the straightest possible path down to the inside fence by the point of the turn and got to the inside fence, he would only lose 2.4 feet compared to the horse breaking from the number 1 post position. So I think it's not going to be as bad as people think, but Brother Derek, if he wins from that post today, will be only the 2nd horse to have ever done it. Tom.
All right, Donna and Gary, do you think Dan Hendricks looking on there? He, of course, the trainer of Brother Derek, and Cecil Peacock, the owner, standing just behind him, the Alberta, Canada oil man. And Michael Matz with his family gathered around him and the children that he saved from that wreckage of the plane crash back in 1989 here to witness the Derby as well.
Tell you right now, as I said before, that these jockeys have a really, really good idea how these horses are going to perform right now. We talked about Noble Causeway last year. I didn't have a good feel when I went in there. All 3 of my Kentucky Derby wins. These horses warmed up unbelievable, and when I walked in the starting gate, those horses had a great sense of confidence, which gave me a great sense of confidence.
Late money has made Sweet Northern Saint the favorite. Sweet Northern Saint with a late money opened at 10-1 on the morning line, now 5-1 favorite as Barbaro now second choice at 6-1. It's a look at Bob and John. Garrett Gomez up, trained by Bob Baffert. Bob McNair, Stonerside Stable, owns him. There's Baffert looking on from his box. Has 3 horses in today's race. Has a little coaxing to get into the starting gate.
I'm anxious to see.
Who was that? Seaside Retreat.
Yeah. I'm anxious to see how much Garrett Gomez uses Bob and John early. In the Wood Memorial, he used him hard early. He made the lead and was kind of pulling up at the end, even though he did win. But it'll be interesting to see what his strategy is here, Tom.
All right, it's the 132nd Kentucky Derby. They go 1.25 miles, first leg of the Triple Crown. And here to call the Derby is Tom Durkin.
And there goes Brother Derek, the morning line favorite, but will not go off as the post time favorite. He takes post position number 18. There is long shot Storm Treasure. As you look at the head-on shot, going into the starting gate, you're going to look at post positions 3, 4, and 9. 3 Keyed Entry, 4 Sinister Minister, 9 Sharp Humor. Those are the 3 quickest out of the gate that we expect to see the surfeit of speed in the Kentucky Derby this year. And they are off in the Kentucky Derby, and wasting no time, it is Sinister Minister, and Sharp Humor comes on through in between horses. Toward the outside, Bluegrass Cat is there, Keyed Entry toward the rail, and here's that cavalry charge by us for the first time, and it's Sinister Minister, and Keyed Entry comes through on his inside. Sharp Humor runs third as they head for the turn. Showing up is fourth, Barbaro's fifth in between horses. Lawyer Ron is sixth, Seaside Retreat is seventh. And then it's Bluegrass Cat, 8th toward the inside. Brother Derek well out into the track. He's now running along in 9th position. AP Warrior is 10th. Point Determined is 11th toward the inside. Sweet Northern Saint, the favorite, is 12th and moving through in between horses. Bob and John is now 13th. Deputy Glitters is 14th. Private Val 15th. Steppenwolfer 16th toward the inside. Flashy Bull is 17th. And then it's a Storm Treasure down toward the inside, running in 18th position. Cause to Believe is 19th. Jazzle, the stretch runner, is the last of them all. 46 seconds flat for the opening half mile, and it is indeed a grueling pace here, set by Keyed Entry. Sinister Minister is second as they approach the half-mile pole going into that far turn. Sweet Northern Saint has picked his way through the pack. He's down on the inside fourth. Barbaro in the clear, poised as they move into the far turn, and he's moving up to be fourth now. Showing up his fifth. Bluegrass Cat is sixth, and he's called on for more run as they round the far turn. There goes Sinister Minister. 3/4 in 10 and 4, and it's Sinister Minister, and here comes Barbaro. The undefeated Barbaro comes up on the outside, and he takes the lead as the field turns for home in the Kentucky Derby. Barbaro turns it on, and his stablemate showing up is second.
Bluegrass Cat is third. Brother Derek putting in a late run on the far outside. Steppenwolfer is fifth. And Sweet Northern Saints sixth toward the rail. But they're coming to the finish. And it is all Barbaro in a sublime performance. He runs away from them all. And he has saved something left for the Preakness. Barbaro wins by 7. Bluegrass Cat was second. Steppenwolfer was third. Three-way photo for fourth. Jazzle Brother Derek. And showing up, this was a no doubt about it winner. And there is the silver winner of the Olympic medal winning it. And there is a disappointed Dan Hendricks, whose horse did not perform as well as they thought today. But boy, this was a terrific performance by Barbaro today.
Well, we've talked about, Gary, how talented this field was, and Michael Matz quietly confident all week long leading up to the Derby, but always saying it's a very talented field, and if it's a talented field, then this horse is something else because he blew them away. 18 unbeaten horses have run in the Derby, but only 6 have come out of the Derby still unbeaten. Barbaro becomes the 6th, 6 wins and 6 starts. He's the first horse in 50 years to have a 5-week or longer layoff before the Derby from his last prep. That was Needles 50 years ago. Barbaro has done it off the 5-week layoff and 2 races in 13 weeks. There's Donna pulling up alongside Edgar Prado.
Edgar, congratulations. This is your first Kentucky Derby win, but it was so impressive on Barbaro's part. What kind of horse is this, and how's it feel to get your first win?
That's it. First, Mommy, I hope you listen. This is for you, Mommy.
Edgar mentioned his mother when he won the Florida Derby. She passed away in February after a long illness, and Edgar, I'm sure she was up there rooting for you today.
Yes, he's a very excellent horse. All the time he showed me the quality of horse he is. I was very confident coming today to the Derby, and he proved that he can run. I was very happy for him.
You've had 6 other chances to win the Derby. This was your 7th. You said you were confident coming into this, more confident than ever before?
Yes, very confident, all along. I want to say this to all my friends in Maryland, Florida, and America. Please, for the dreams come true.
Well, here's the dreams come true for you, Edgar, and good luck in the next couple.
Thank you very much.
We go to Kenny Rice.
All right, the celebration with the whole Matz family here, Michael. Congratulations.
Thank you very much, Kenny.
What were you thinking as it progressed and he got up there about halfway through and got near the pace and then was turning for home?
Well, I just have to thank my assistant, Peter Brett. He did a wonderful job riding this horse, and you could see he was conditioned well. And everybody involved with him, everybody up at Fair Hill and Delaware, and it's been great. It's a great feeling.
All right, congratulations. We'll see you in the winner's circle. Michael Matz, who's won the Derby. Let's go to Bob Newmeyer.
Kenny, I'm with Dan Hendricks, and your horse had the 18 post in this race, and a lot of folks thought that could be his undoing. It appeared to me that Alex Solis had no choice but to go wide throughout the race. Do you think that might have hurt his chances?
Looks like Bob's mic has gone out there as he talks to Dan Hendricks. Edgar Prado with his first Derby win. And Michael Matz becomes the 4th straight first-time trainer to win the Derby. Barclay Tagg, John Service, Tim Ritchie, and now Michael Matz. And a lot of people said that he was making a mistake, giving 5 weeks between the Florida Derby and the Kentucky Derby. Obviously, he knew his horse. The horse was fit. And Barbaro, who had worked sensationally here at Churchill Downs, had everything he needed and more. Owned by Roy and Gretchen Jackson. They're Lael Stables, the word Gaelic for loyalty. They're from Pennsylvania, right on the Pennsylvania-Delaware line. And what a day they've had. Here we go, Gary, with the start of the race. Barbaro is in post position 8.
Post position number 8. Goes to his knees a little bit there. This is what kind of an athlete this horse is, though. He gets right back up on his feet. No harm, no foul there. This is the Kentucky Derby. There was a little bouncing going on, but I think that Edgar has a very, very good feeling right now. He's got him forwardly placed. He's in the clear. He's got 2 pacemakers up in front of him, but just off of the pace. I don't think that Edgar had any doubt in his mind that this horse would rate back behind at all. We're going to move forward to the backstretch here. Here's Brother Derek, and as they turn into the backstretch, Alex Solis has got a lot of horse right here, but he runs into some traffic problems up here. Actually, a horse comes out and bumps him pretty hard, and it looked like he was traveling pretty good right there, but it just wasn't Brother Derek's day. As we come into the stretch right now, I was watching Edgar just before this moment, and this horse was actually pulling Edgar out of the saddle. From the quarter pole home, it was just a matter of how far that Edgar Prado wanted to win by. I hate to use the term superstar, but we might be looking at one right here. This horse is undefeated, he's untested, and he sure wasn't tested today. And I'll tell you what, the job that Michael Matz has done with him is just incredible.
And here he is to the cheers of the crowd. Well, you knew Michael Matz.
There is no feeling in the world like what Edgar Prado is feeling right now. That is just the best.
You knew Michael Matz was a complete horseman. I saw him on the lead pony ready to take Barbaro to the track earlier this week, and I said, how are your riding skills? He said, not as good as they used to be when he won the silver medal, but certainly his training skills are excellent. And Dan Hendricks, who has enjoyed his trip to his first Kentucky Derby with brother Derek, didn't perform as well as he wanted, but hoping to return. And his trip here to Churchill Downs has been an inspiration to all as he's handled things from his wheelchair with one of the best horses in the country. But the star of the moment right there, Barbaro.
You know, this morning, Michael sent this horse out for some exercise. And when this horse trains, he gallops right around. They're very spirited gallops. And to take a horse out on race day, that's a brave move in the first place. But this horse went out this morning, and another horse actually joined up with him in the gallop. And they said that he had like a half-mile workout this morning before the race. So I think there was a little bit of concern about that. I saw Michael Matz walking over here earlier. He looked very confident, and we know why now.
Are we going great? Are we going right to the winner's circle?
Well, for all our talk about the stars in this field, and they certainly had wonderful credentials coming in, but Barbaro was just much the best in the Kentucky Derby, a race that often the best horse doesn't win, but I think it's obvious this time that he was by far the best horse. Still waiting for the mutual payouts on Barbaro's victory, by the way.
A horse here that was favored in the Bluegrass Stakes 3 weeks ago, and here we see the winner coming up here. Edgar Prado celebrating.
There's the finish. Edgar Prado, Barbaro, and Matz. Well, he watched from his box with his family. His wife, Dee Dee. And the Roth kids who survived the plane crash, thanks in part to Michael Matz. You know who they wanted to win. The Roth family. Jody, Melissa, and Travis. And what a day for Roy and Gretchen Jackson. They win the Kentucky Derby. They also bred and sold the winner of the 2000 Guineas, first race of the Triple Crown in England today. Barbaro wins the Kentucky Derby decisively over Bluegrass Cat and Steppenwolfer. And the Kentucky Derby is now official. Barbaro has won on grass. He's won on a sloppy track in his two biggest wins, the Florida Derby and the Kentucky Derby, paying $14.20. Bluegrass Cat second, Steppenwolfer third. You see the exacta payout, $587. The Tri paid $11,000 and a $42,000 $1 superfecta. And just moments ago, as Barbaro came back, Michael Matz there to greet him for the first time since he crossed the finish line in first. Edgar Prado, whose best previous finish was third on Peace Rules in 2003, with a hug and the garland of roses over the withers of Barbaro. Maybe with the best seat here today, Snoopy 1 overhead, giving us a better perspective of all the action. Visit MetLife.com to learn how MetLife can be a great partner for you. And let's replay the race from the Blimp now. This look of the race is brought to you by Vonage. And Barbaro starting from post position number 8.
Number 8 here. We'll see him get a very, very clean break. Right here from number 8. A little difficult to see there. There he is, just third on the outside, easing into a great spot right here. The great thing about this horse is he has such good tactical speed, and he's so easy to maneuver.
What people don't realize is, Gary, that horses usually have one run in them. It could be early or it could be late. But sometimes you get an exceptional horse that can stop and start.
Yes, exactly. We see him right now. I believe he's in third. This is the first time that I've seen this. Yeah, he's in third right now, and just in the ultimate position right now. And I know what is going through Edgar's mind right now. This horse is traveling so good. You see him just back there, just going out of the camera right there, and directly behind him, that is point determined. But as they sort it out down the backside, they've got approximately 5/8 of a mile to run right now, and it becomes just a matter of Edgar Prado waiting until he hits the head of the stretch. He's got two horses in front of him that he knows he can pass any time that he wants to. No traffic on the outside of him, so there's not a worry about him getting caught behind horses or in any kind of traffic troubles from here.
Because this horse has such great tactical speed, all he wanted to do was just keep him out of trouble, huh?
That's the whole key. When you're riding a horse like this, he rode this horse like he was 1-9 instead of 6-1. Right here, he's just sitting waiting. This is the greatest feeling in the world. They're just coming to the 8th pole right now, and right here is the first time that Edgar Prado asked him the question to go on. And when he asked him, he gave him the right answer. From here, like I said, it's just a question of how far that Edgar wants to win the race by. Doesn't even hit this horse. He waved his stick at him one time, and that's about as easy a winner as you can have.
And Barbaro just pulling away with ease, it would appear. Bluegrass Cat, one of the long shots, claiming second, and Steppenwolfer, the late closer, third. Here's the decisive moment, top of the stretch. Barbaro, Edgar Prado says go, and he just blew right by them.
It's so difficult to have a horse accelerate off of the turn when they're running for the first time going 1.25 miles. That's the thing here. These horses are still young, and he was able to sit on that horse until he hit the last 1/4 mile. And you really don't know how they're going to respond when you ask them that question, as Edgar did there. And he just flattened out and hit 2 more gears. He hit a gear at the 8th pole, and he found another gear, in the last 16th of a mile.
And that was our Vonage, just barely. 3 years chronologically by win of the Derby. Barbaro, Bluegrass Cat, Steppenwolfer, Jazzle, and as you saw, the 4th place dead heat there. Cause to believe, Flashy Bull. As we continue to go down the complete order of finish, Private Vow, Sinister Minister after those early fractions tiring.
The state of Kentucky, Ernie Fletcher, as well as Tom Meeker, who is the president and CEO of Churchill Downs, and this gentleman, David Novak, who is the chairman and CEO of Yum Brands. David?
Well, Bob, it doesn't get any better than this to see a Kentucky-bred horse win the Kentucky Derby, and Yum Brands just couldn't be happier. It's great to have Pizza Hut, Taco Bell, and KFC, Long John Silver, and A&W be a part of this. It's just a thrill to be a part of the event, and it's been a real honor to be the first one to do it. Thanks.
Tom Meeker, excitement and also a poignant feeling for you, because this is your last Kentucky Derby as the president and CEO of Churchill Downs.
It won't be my last Kentucky Derby, but certainly as president.
In that capacity?
Yes, absolutely. It's been 22 great years out here, and we're very, very proud to have been part of this for 22 years, but more particularly proud of all the friends we made in the racing industry and all the friends we made here in Louisville. So I'm saddened, obviously, but there'll be better days ahead for everyone. So,
and the honor of introducing the governor goes to you.
Yes, I do that every year, and it gives me great pleasure to introduce our governor, Governor Ernie Fletcher, and he'll present the trophy to our winning owners.
Governor Fletcher.
Bob, thank you very much. A great crowd here today. Yum, a great Kentucky company. We thank you for your sponsorship. Tom, very long, distinguished career. You've brought Churchill to a height that today we were able to enjoy on the 132nd Kentucky Derby. Congratulations to you for a fantastic success here at Kentucky Derby. To the winners of this great race, let me say this horse, being a Kentucky-bred horse, means there's an additional $100,000 out of our new breeder incentives that we'll be able to present as well. Congratulations for that. Edgar, a great race. Mike, wonderful race, coming from a gold medal winner to here at Kentucky Derby. By the way, we have the 2010 World Equestrian Games this year here. They're coming to Kentucky soon. Roy and Gretchen, there are a few events in life after which your life is changed forever. Winning the Kentucky Derby is one of those. Congratulations. Those are the things that happen in our great unbridled spirit state. Congratulations. It was with a deep honor for Churchill and the Commonwealth of Kentucky that we present you this trophy on behalf of Barbaro, a great horse. Congratulations.
Kids, let me slide in here. We got the whole family, kids, grandchildren, everybody. There's got to be a little bit of room here. Roy, a quick thought before we turn things over to Edgar and Michael.
This is just a dream come true for us. Everybody dreams about winning the Kentucky Derby. We just feel terribly blessed to be here and be standing here today.
Roy and Gretchen, congratulations to you and your entire family, and Mike Battaglia is with the winning jockey and trainer. Mike?
All right, thanks, Bob. And Michael Matz, what an excellent training job to have Barbaro ready to run a race like that. A great ride by Edgar Prado. And it has to be even more special to have your family here, the Roth children. How were you feeling when he's coming down the stretch?
Well, at that point, I was very happy. I said, just don't fall down. So I was very pleased with everything. I'm happy my family came here. I just want to thank all the staff I have back at Fair Hill in Delaware for keeping the ball rolling while I'm away, and I just couldn't be more pleased.
Michael, you've been telling us all week how well this horse was doing, how well he liked Churchill Downs. This was the race of his career, and he sure picked a good time to run it.
Well, I told Edgar in the paddock, I said, let's win our first Kentucky Derby.
And you did that. Congratulations. Edgar, what a ride you put on this horse. You had a little bit of trouble leaving the gate. Not a lot, but he stumbled a bit.
Yes, he did. He stumbled a little bit coming out of the gate, but he recuperated right away. And all along I have very confidence, and I was very confident. And it was just a matter of time when I can turn it loose. And you see what he did when I turned it loose. He just took off like a rocket.
He absolutely exploded, and he showed a new dimension. Came from off the pace, didn't have any trouble at all with those speed horses in front of him. When you asked him to go by, he went by.
I never have any doubt about the kind of horse he is. I always feel very comfortable. Mr. Matz did a super job. I mean, you see, he's a very nice horse, and hopefully we can get a Triple Crown.
And Mr. Matz did do a super job. You did a superb job. Congratulations to the connections of the Kentucky Derby winner, Barbaro.